Visions Incorporated is a nonprofit enterprise that provides training and consultation to organizations, communities, and individuals seeking to achieve greater effectiveness in a multicultural setting. Multiculturalism means the accepting of differences and operating from a position of genuinely appreciating one's own cultural identity and that of others. Visions defines multiculturalism as a process of change by which we learn to recognize, understand, and appreciate our own cultural identities, as well as the similarities and differences of people from other cultural groups. These cultural groups can be based upon several characteristics and can include race, ethnicity, gender, age, sexual orientation, physical abilities, class, job status, religion, immigrant status, language, and nationality. Please note that you will need the article Unpacking the Invisible Knapsack by Peggy McIntosh for the Visions Incorporated session. You can download this from the website. Next, we will hear from Drs. Jim Turner and Joan Schoenhals. First, they will review the guidelines for authentic dialogue in a multicultural community, and then review the multicultural process of change.
The first one is called Try On. Essentially, this is Try On. This is a guideline that invites us to seek to understand before being understood. It is about allowing ourselves to listen and hear, to suspend judgment for that moment, rather than, already beginning to form a rebuttal to someone's point in our mind before they even finish what it is that they have to say.
Could I see a show of hands in terms of how many of you have no trouble disagreeing? About half the group is comfortable with disagreement. So I'm going to ask those of you who are not to try on that it's okay to disagree. That when we begin to talk about difference, there often are differing of opinions and different experiences, and it needs to be okay to disagree. We also hold that there are ways to disagree, and that it's not okay to shame, blame, or attack yourself or others.
The confidentiality guideline asks you to be willing to honor any disclosure that another participant makes to you by agreeing to not share outside of this session what they have to say or what they have said or what their experience was.
The next one is to practice both and thinking. Often in cross-cultural interactions, there are multiple realities present at the same time. And that the rightness of one reality does not negate the rightness of another. And this is often a difficult concept given that we are prone to either or thinking so much of the time. Many times, good people act badly. And we call this guideline intent and impact. And it's the notion that out of our awareness, often we unintentionally impact people negatively. That the message that I intend to send may be received in a very different way than what my intent was. And I want to give you an example. In our work with faith-based organizations, one of the pastors that was running a campaign decided that the meetings to plan the campaign for the year would all occur on Saturday morning. Part of this faith-based group were Christians and Jews and many different diversities among the Christian group. And he was not aware that by scheduling on Saturday morning, he was adversely impacting the Jewish congregation. He wasn't conscious of that. And so when it was brought to his attention, he immediately apologized and said, oh, I didn't mean it, and he took it away, which didn't allow for him to hear the full impact for a group of people who've been sharing, wanting to be more visible and heard in that organization. It wasn't enough to just say, I'm sorry, but really to hear the impact, because often we're unaware of how we impact others. So the intent and impact is a really important one to add to this list of guidelines. I want to introduce one of the key visions tools, and this tool is about a process of change moving from monoculturalism to pluralism. And it starts with an understanding of monoculturalism. We have been living in this era of diversity, so pure monoculturalism seems somewhat foreign to us. Monoculturalism is the notion that there is one way of doing things, and that differences are rejected, and that there's a dominant group that is superior, and if an individual come into that group who's not part of the group, they have to assimilate and become part of that group. And that the one way is the right way, and it's my way or the highway in monoculturalism. When we think about diversity, it's an opportunity to bring different groups of people into the environment, into the organization. And often diversity is thought about in terms of quantitative terms. Do we have enough African Americans? Are there enough women? Are there enough differences in the organization? But primarily the goal of diversity is to carry out the mission of the organization and not bring about change, but to diversify the group in order to have a diverse workforce, if you will, organization, but the goals of the organization remains the same. In multiculturalism, we're talking about a process, not a fixed point in time. Multiculturalism is about the recognition, the appreciation, and the utilization of differences to make the organization, the institution, more equitable and to meet all of the needs of the groups of people who are part of that organization. In multiculturalism, power is shared. There is a sense of equity in terms of power. Who makes the decisions? How are the decision makers representative of all the members of an organization? Two important things to think about images, that the primary image for monoculturalism is the melting pot. And I grew up believing that the melting pot was a wonderful thing. And then someone said, well, if you throw us all into the pot and melt us, you're going to come out looking more like Joan than Joan's going to come out looking like you, because we melt to the dominant culture and not to the borders or to the minority cultures. The salad bowl is the image of pluralism, which is the outcome of the multicultural process of change. And so we each maintain our cultural integrity as we engage together in a multicultural environment. And so it's really important to hear that multiculturalism is the process and not the outcome. It's not the fixed point in time. We often use this tool diagnostically, that we ask organizations to think about, where are you continuing to practice monoculturalism, and where are you engaged in multiculturalism. And there are many organizations, because of where they're located, may never become fully diverse. It just may not be practical, given who lives near, who's involved in the organization. But that doesn't mean that an institution and an organization can't practice multiculturalism. And so it really is a diagnostic tool to see where you are in this process of change.
I'd like to introduce a process called mutual invitation, adapted from the work of Reverend Eric H.F. Law. Law says invitation is a way of giving away power. Accepting an invitation is a way to claim power. In this process of mutual invitation, the group leader or a designated person speaks first without projecting themselves as an expert. Then they invite another member of the group to share, preferably not the person next to them. And so it goes, each speaker inviting another person to share. The person being invited has the option to pass and is still offered the opportunity to invite someone else to share. This continues until everyone has had a chance to share. This process of mutual invitation decentralizes the power that is usually held by the designated leader. It gives everyone the experience to exercise power. It also offers the opportunity to use power again and again. The repeated experience of power enables powerless people to eventually claim their share of power with ease and comfort. So, in a few minutes, using the mutual invitation process, please discuss this question. What are your individual concerns about creating multiracial, multicultural, Unitarian Universalist congregations? First, there's one more thing I'd like you to think about. This is a quote from Tequina Boston, Director of Identity-Based Ministries at the UUA. She says, "Beloved community includes welcome, celebration, presence, and a sense that we are all in this together. It is knowing that wherever I find myself, I am safe, and all others are safe, and that justice, equity, and compassion is extended to all. Beloved community means that when the other is encountered, the response is the extension of hospitality and friendship, rather than suspicion, mistrust, and regarding difference as a threat. I dream of a world where people are not only able to cross borders, but don't even erect borders or walls to be crossed." So in addition to our first question, what are the monocultural borders or walls present in your community? Where does the community engage in building beloved multicultural community well?